Students, welcome and good morning to level 4 organizational behavior class. Today we will discuss process motivation theories. Let me share the slides with you first. Process motivation theories, and after this lecture you will be able to learn expectancy theory of motivation and what is Vroom's expectancy theory of motivation. You will also learn the role of perceived inequity in employee motivation, and also you will learn how goal setting motivates people and identify 5 practical lessons to be learned from goal setting research. Also, you will learn recipients' characteristics, perception, and cognitive evaluation affect how he or she process feedback. You will also learn at least 3 practical lessons from feedback research and also learn different types of organizational reward, and you will learn practical recommendations to implement an organizational reward system and also learn specify issues that should be addressed before implementing a motivational program. Let's start with expectancy theory of motivation. What is expectancy theory of motivation? The expectancy theory states that employees' motivation is an outcome of how much an individual wants a reward valence. The assessment of the likelihood that the effort will lead to expected performance means expectancy, and the belief that the performance will lead to reward. It is also called instrumentality. In short, valence is the significance associated by an individual about the expected outcome. It is an expected and not the actual satisfaction that an employee expects to receive after achieving the goal. You can say that an employee, when he works for the organization, he expects reward and it gives him motivation, and he works for the betterment of the organization. As he will receive reward, it will motivate him and he will contribute more and more. And vice versa, if he does not get any reward from his work, he will he will put less efforts in his work, and it will affect organization's progress. Vroom was the person who gave this expectancy theories, and he said the following factors influence an employee's expectancy perceptions. What are these factors? Self-esteem, self-efficacy, previous success at the task, help received from a supervisor and subordinates, information necessary to complete the task, good materials and equipment to work with. These are the factors. He says it helps in expectancy theories and it affects these. We can see from this table, Vroom's expectancy model, it shows that when an employee puts an effort, he gives performance, and ultimately it comes as the outcome, and he expects reward, and it gives him motivation. First, when he puts effort, employee thinks effort will lead to acceptable performance. And on the other hand, employee thinks acceptable performance will result in acceptable reward. And employee evaluation of reward, valence, it comes if he receives, and it encourages him and he contributes more for the development of the organization. This is what expectancy theory means. Now we'll start equity theory of motivation. Equity theory of motivation. What is equity theory? The core of the equity theory is principle of balance or equity. Equal. Actually means equity means equal. Yes. As per this motivation theory, an individual's motivation level is correlated to his perception of equity, fairness, and justice practiced by the management. Higher is individual's perception of fairness, greater is the motivation level, and vice versa. While evaluating fairness, employee compares the job input in terms of contribution to outcome, in terms of compensation, and also compares the same with that of another peer of equal category. The key factors, the components of this equity theory are inputs, outputs, and comparison. Once an employee puts an effort for any work, yes, he compares his efforts along with other his colleagues. Whether he was putting efforts and the same person is putting the efforts of his level, they are both getting the same reward after getting the same results. If it is equal, it is called equity if they get the same reward. And if the other person gets more, it is called negative. And if the other person gets less, it is called positive for that person. Yes, this is equity theory of motivation. Now we will see this. Uh, what are the factors uh, that helps in equity theory of motivation? Employee inputs and outcomes. If employee has a time, spare more times, and he gets paid and bonuses. If he has more educator and he has training, he gets fair fringe benefits. He gets benefits of this education and training. If he gets more experience, he can challenge the assignments after getting this experience. Skills also helps in his job security. If he has creativity, career advancement and promotion will be in his career and he will be promoted into better position. Seniority, it gives him status symbol. And loyalty to organization. If someone is loyal to organization, pleasant, safe working environment will emerge in the organization. Age, opportunity for personal growth development. As he gets older, he gets experience and he contributes more on the basis of his age experience. Personality traits. Personality traits gives him supportive supervision, effort expended, and if it is recognized, it gives him recognition of his effort expended. Personal appearance. Personal appearance gave him participation in important decision makings. These are the factors that help in equity. And now we can see from the signs, an equitable situation is described by this both get the same. Negative inequity is represented by this negative sign. Positive inequity with positive sign plus sign. Negative inequity is less tolerable than positive inequity. Negative equity is less tolerable. It can't be. If something is negative and some other person gets the more, definitely the employee will think that he is getting more and he is denied from his rights. That is why it is less tolerable for him. Inequity can be reduced. Inequity can be reduced by providing the fair justice and fair rewards. Applying equity in organizations. How it can be applied in organizations. Employees' beliefs and attitudes affect job performance. Managers benefit by allowing employees to participate in making decisions about important work outcomes. Third, perceptions of fairness are increased by giving employees the opportunity to appeal decisions that affect them. Employees are more likely to accept change when they believe the organization is treating them fairly and equitably. Managers can promote cooperation and teamwork among work group members by treating them equitably. These are the points they contribute in applying equity in the organizations, and it depends upon the managers how he deals with the situation and how he deals his subordinates and co-workers. Now we will discuss the goal theory setting and its mechanism. What is goal theory? Goal setting theory is a technique used to raise incentive for employees to complete work quickly and effectively. Organization gives uh, uh, incentives to workers, and organizations set a goal to achieve. If the workers achieves those goals, they are rewarded. And goal setting leads to better performance by increasing motivation and efforts, but also through increasing and improving the feedback quality, it also works. Yes, what is goal motivation? The individual by goals motivate. How goals motivate? You can see it from here. Here is a worker, and he is assigned some work to complete, and at the end task performance will be judged, and these are the factors that contribute: directing one's attention, regulating one's effort, increasing one's persistence, encouraging the development of goal attainment strategies or action plans. These help to achieve this task performance. Evidence about the goal setting model. This is the evidence that how it is done. Goal difficulty leads to higher performance. When you set a goal, it leads to higher performance. Easy goal produce low effort because the goal is too easy to achieve. Impossible goals ultimately lead to lower performance because people begin to experience failure. When you set a goal, it should be practicable and manageable in a specific time. And if it is achievable, leads to higher performance. And if it is not achievable, impossible to achieve, it will affect the progress. And goal specificity. Goal may or may not lead to higher performance. Goal specificity pertains to the how quantifiable the goal is. Specific difficult goals impair performance on novel, complex tasks when employees don't have clear strategies for solving these type of problems. And goal commitment. Goal specificity, how it can be specified, what are its what is its uniqueness and how it can be achieved. Goal commitment, what is commitment to goal? The level of energy or enthusiasm you put to achieve that goal. It will be described as an individual is expected to persist in attempts to accomplish a goal when he or she is committed. People with a higher need for achievement have a higher goal commitment and outperform people with a low need for achievement. Next is application of the goal setting model. How we can apply this goal setting model. Goal should be SMART. Goal conflict refers to the degree to which people feel that multiple goals are incompatible. Goal commitment is important because employees are more motivated to pursue goals they view as reasonable, obtainable, and fair. Support and feedback in the form of resources and information required to get the job done must be provided. Goal application, how you can apply goal. It should be SMART. Goal conflict, it should not conflict with others like this, other task like this, it should be clear one. And it goal commitment, it needs some requirements like who can perform this one, who will do this one, in what in how much time and how much energy is required. Goal commitment, and also enthusiasm to complete this one. And support and feedback, support from other co-workers, and after that the feedback they get from the company and also from the customers and like this, and also from the manager and co-workers. After the completion of the task, then comes the stage of feedback. Feedback, and now we will discuss feedback and evidence about motivating through feedback. What is feedback? Organizational feedback is essentially a process wherein the manager and the employee discuss possible ways to effectively work together to achieve organizational goals. Organizational feedback can either be informal, oral communication, or a formal report of performance, appraisal, problems, etc. Feedback. Organization set a feedback criteria, and they collect in the form of 360 or in the form of upward feedback. And on the basis of this feedback, they give rewards to employees. Now we will say why it is, why organization need feedback. These are the points we will discuss. Feedback is used to punish, embarrass, put down, or dismiss employees. Those receiving the feedback see it as irrelevant to their work. Feedback information is provided too late to do any good. People receiving feedback believe it relates to matters beyond their control. Employees complain about wasting too much time collecting and recording feedback data. Feedback recipients complained about feedback being too complex or difficult to understand. The positive acceptance of feedback is treated as a given. Feedback is given too infrequently. Now we will discuss application of feedback thinking. It it relates to the feedback to existing performance goals and clear expectations. Give specific feedback tied to observable behavior or measurable results. Channel feedback toward key result areas. Give feedback as soon as possible. Give positive feedback for improvement, not just final result. Focus feedback on performance, not personalities. Base feedback on accurate and credible information. How we apply feedback. These were the rules we discussed, that it relates to the feedback. It should be given in a proper time, in a proper format, and also it should not be biased one. It should not look at the personalities. It should be, it should focus on their performance. And now we will discuss upward and 360-degree feedback. These are the two categories of feedback generally organization use to get feedback. Upward feedback. Upward feedback is performance appraisal method that allows direct reports to provide feedback to their manager. This approach is on an upward trend and increasingly adopted by some of the world's leading brands. Generally anonymous, and its example is anonymous lecturer evaluation surveys. These are kept anonymous, and when they, these feedback are get, mostly the person who gives feedback, he hides his name. And 360-degree feedback. It is full circle feedback. It is full circle feedback. This feedback is got from the co-workers, managers, and now we will see what is it. A 360-degree feedback, also known as multi-rater feedback, multi-source feedback, or multi-source assessment, is a process through which feedback from an employee's subordinate, colleagues, and advisors, as well as self-evaluation by the employee themselves, is gathered. And now this one is in vogue in most of the organization around the world. Upward and 3-degree feedback. These are the things we have to focus while doing these two feedback. Traditional performance appraisal system have created widespread dissatisfaction. Traditional one. Team-based organization structures are replacing traditional hierarchies. This trend requires professionals to have good interpersonal skills that are best evaluated by team members, not superiors. Systems using multiple raters are set to make far more valid feedback than single source rating. Network technology now facilitate multiple rater system. Bottom up feedback mimics nicely with the trend towards participative management and employee empowerment. Co-workers and subordinates are said to know more about a professional's strength and limitation than the boss. These are the factors that are counted while doing upward and 360-degree feedback. And we have discussed which is better, which is was in a better way, and which is less biased. We have discussed it here. Application of feedback procedures. This table shows that top management should be involved both in the role of rather and in the role of focal person. Complement the Results of peer and self-appraisal with additional data farm assessment. Involve the user in the design of the 360-degree process. Involve the user in the choice of peers and others who will be rating their skills, behavior, and occupation. But be careful in coupling multi-rater feedback system with regular appraisal system. Make sure the instrument is tested for coherence and that is it is scored, interpreted, and reported following a research-based procedure. These are the things we have to keep in mind while doing feedback. We discussed here the criteria and application of the feedback procedures, and we discussed that why it is important. Feedbacks, after feedbacks, organizations try to improve their performance and also to reward their employees. And while doing feedback, 360 or upward, the feedbackers, they should not be biased one and they should not keep in front of them while doing feedback the personality of the worker, but they should consider what he did, his performance. And after submitting feedback, when the companies reward employees, it gives them motivation and they contribute more for the development of the organization. And now we will discuss what is this reward, what they get after feedback. Organizational reward is, reward system in organizations are used for a variety of reasons. It generally agreed that reward system influence the following: job job effort and performance. Following expectancy theory implies effort and performance would be expected to increase when they felt that rewards were contingent upon good performance. Expectancy theory says that if you will give a, if you will consider employees work and give him reward, it will help organization development and progress. And what are types of reward? Extrinsic reward, it is like financial, material, social rewards from the environment. And intrinsic reward, it is self-granted physical reward, what employees feels himself after doing a job, perfect job. Extrinsic motivation, and this one is being motivated by external rewards like monetary incentives. And intrinsic motivation, being motivated by intrinsic inwardly rewards like self-determination and need of competence. Now this figure will show what are types of financial, material extrinsic, social extrinsic, and physical intrinsic rewards are. Organization reward norms, when organizers give any reward, they keep in mind the following things: profit maximization, equity, equality, need. Profit maximization is the ultimate goal, that if they will give any reward to any worker, he should also contribute, and he had already contributed, and it helped the finances of the organization. Organization will keep equity in mind. If it is not equitable and fair, it is not fair, it will affect the organization's repute. And it also keeps in mind the needs of the workers and the company. And distribution criteria, what is the distribution criteria? Distribution criteria is results. If the results are positive or helpful for the organization, it will contribute. And the behavior of the employees and some other factors like contributing factors. And what is the outcome? Like desired outcomes. If the desired outcome is achieved, then they reward this. And it attracts, motivate, develop, satisfy, and retain the progress and the employees, and also satisfy the customer and company progress on the basis of this reward system. Organizational reward norms. What are the things which are kept in mind while rewarding? Profit maximization. This is the ultimate goal of the organization, maximizing net gain. Equity, allocation in proportion to contributions. Reward equity norm, equality, rewarding all parties equally. We have already discussed need, distributing reward according to their needs. And what is the criteria? Performance in terms of results. These are discussed in the chart. Now we are explaining them one by one. Performance in terms of results. Performance in terms of action and behaviors. What was the behavior of the employee and what action he applied while doing his job. Non-performance considerations. Non-performance consideration. The consideration, the things he kept in mind, whether they were they contributed in his performance and they did not and they wasted their time. They keep in mind these things. And now this is the criteria. These are the things. Why do rewards fail to motivate? If generally reward motivate, but if they don't motivate, then these may be the factor. These may be the things which were not kept in mind while rewarding. Too much emphasis on monetary rewards. Reward lack and appreciation effect. Extensive benefits become entitlements. Counterproductive behavior is rewarded. Too long a delay between performance and rewards. Too many one size fits and reward. Use of one short reward with a short-lived motivational impact. Continued use of demotivating practices such as layoffs across the board, pay rises, cuts, and excessive executive compensations. And it continues, interesting work and recognition more valued than money. Extrinsic reward lose their motivation over time. Mixed result as to the performance enhancing effect of monetary rewards must be large enough to motivate. Pay, goal achievement. Pay plus goal achievement. Performance goals are under the employee's control. If he performs well, he will get more. Goals are quantitative and measurable. Frequent, relatively large payments are made for performance achievement. These were the factors they contribute in the development of the organization when they distribute rewards to their employees. And if it does not affect, we discuss the point because it was too late, it was less, it was not kept in mind while rewarding equitably. These are the factors. And also sometimes when you reward, the employees consider it their right and they don't contribute according to their terms and conditions of the job. These were the factors. And now we will see what is the mechanism of reward distribution. Mission and goals. A well articulated and clear mission and operating vision that is understood and accepted. Organization goals that are credible, measurable, and verifiable. Department, work unit, and team goals that have a clear line of sight. Individual goals are work measures that are intuitively related to good performance, that are equally related to good performance. And communication and feedback. What is the role of communication and feedback in the reward mechanism? A pay philosophy that is clearly specified and communicated to employees. Regular communication that keeps employees informed of performance results. Regular feedback to employees to guide and encourage their growth and career progression. Regular communication to recognize the importance of employees' efforts and to make clear how their efforts contribute to the organization. This is the communication that it was communicated to the higher level authorities for the reward and feedback, and it considered the following points we have discussed here now. And application of reward mechanism, it also look at the organization culture. What is the culture? What is the trend? How they are distributed among the employees in our organization. We will see now the culture of the organization. An organization climate that encourages people to look for new and better ways to accomplish goals. An organizational climate that stimulates people to pursue challenging goals. An organizational climate that emphasizes the importance of the individual, his or her need and aspirations. Training and development that is seen as an investment in people. An organizational climate where people have the opportunity to participate in the development of the performance. We have discussed what is the culture, how the rewards are distributed, what is the culture. The culture, what they are given uh, as far granted, or they are distributed on the basis of the performance of the employees, and what is the culture, how whether they are distributed equitably or on the biased basis. uh, while distributing, organization always consider their culture. Reward system. A reward system that reinforces the importance of good performance at all levels, including both monetary and non-monetary rewards. A reward system also encourages people to work together and cooperate, and that also creates opportunity to celebrate people's accomplishment. Reward system implemented in a fair and objective way, including an appeal process for people who believe they have been treated unjustly, it helps. These are the factors that a reward system encourages the employees to work for the betterment of the organization, and it also make them feel that their performance is recognized at all levels and they contribute. And if they are not given rewards, there should be a system of appeal of unjust decisions, appeal against unjust decisions. There is no single clear-cut solution to deal effective with employee motivation. Here we will discuss what motivates the employees to contribute for the development of the organization. It says there is no clear-cut solution to deal effectively with employee motivation. People are not motivated by the same aspects. They consider the other things. You can't treat all other way. You can't deal all people like keep. You should also keep their education qualities, their requirements, their skills. People vary in their intensity and persistence of their motivated behavior, and you should keep in this mind while motivating and awarding them. In keeping with expectancy theory, organizations should make rewards contingent on performance. Feedback also needs to be linked to performance. These are the things that for motivation process theory, these factors contribute. That there is no clear-cut solution of this motivation. You can't keep in mind the same aspects. Intensity of persistence, you should also keep in mind, and it should related to the performance of the employee, and also uh, feedback should be linked to the performance. These were the factors, and these are the things we have discussed in this lectures. Thank you very much for your participation and for your presence. Thanks.